Unsyndicated presents What the Puck with Sean Baligian.
Fantastic then. He's Mike Iavasile. I'm Sean Baligian. Glad you can join us. Just a programming note before we start. And Mike, this is more for reminding you and for me, we won't be here next Wednesday. I'm going to be in Milwaukee, but we will be here next Friday. All right? Is that cool?
Montreal, Milwaukee.
Yes. I'm going to see the same trip that you and I made last year, pal. I'm going with Jack, so we're going to watch the Tigers and the Brewers in.
All right.
Yes,
wow.
Absolutely. Yes,
love it. That was a great trip, a great little town.
It really is. That little downtown area is fantastic. Really, really, really fantastic. So this is where we're going to start. David said this time next year, 2026. What are we talking about on What the Puck? It's funny that you say that because before we talk about what transpired last night, before we talk about the disappointment of this year, which really shouldn't be disappointing for you. Sorry. I mean, if you want to be disappointed because you thought that they would be further along, I can understand that. But if you want to be disappointed just based on what they started this year with, Mike, I'm sorry. I think you and I were on the exact same page. You can correct me if I'm wrong when the season started. It was a big not yet. And a lot of it was based in what they did and did not do last offseason.
Oh, absolutely. We started that as soon as Tarasenko was signed, Sean. We started to question, what are we doing in the offseason? And if we're honest with ourselves, we started questioning it towards the end of the season when we did not get rid of the coach.
Yeah. Oh, no question. No doubt about that. And listen, I don't know. I've always, if you guys have listened to me, I don't like to play the what if game. I'm not a fan of the what if game. I don't know. All right. Here's what I do know. There was a big difference with Coach McClellan at the helm, and there's also a talent discrepancy on this squad. There is, and we have to acknowledge that, and we all have to move on. Mike, here's where I'll start, okay? And I understand that there are more reserves coming. I understand that ASP in particular is the one that they're hoping to use a reference point to last night. Maybe he can be their Lane Hudson, who really is that impactful. I know you're all going to say I'm being a slapdick. You guys watch the same game I did last night. There's just electricity with that kid. But Mike, let me ask you a question. Who is the impact forward? Go.
Casper.
Do you think so?
I think so. I like what I've seen out of him. If you watch and you, Sean, and we've done this, when you go through who do you want your top center to be? We did that list last week, right? Mm-hmm. When you look at those guys, your top end guys that you want to have the puck, they create space and they create opportunities. And I'm starting to see that in young Casper here. So that's what I see him doing. Do I like Raymond? Yes. Is Raymond their top guy right now? By far. Absolutely. I like what I'm seeing in Casper, and I think he overtakes Raymond.
I swear to God, Mike and I did not have a conversation about this beforehand. I think much to Mike's chagrin. What are you drinking, Mike? I think much to Mike's chagrin, Mike is one of those type of people that he like says, what are we going to talk about? And you know me, I just like to chat. So Mike, I apologize. It's not like you don't know what you're talking about. I have that exact same feeling. I'm going to put an incomplete on Casper. I agree with you. I don't know if he's going to be the quote unquote impact guy. Hey, Henry, how are you? But I'm at the point right now with Lucas Raymond, okay, where tell me if this sounds familiar. I like him. Mm-hmm. I'll take him. I'm not saying that I don't want him, okay, but in typical, Red Wingdom fashion, I think there are a lot of people in this town that put him on a pedestal and maybe a plateau that he doesn't belong. I think he's a very good player. I think you need more than spotty, impactful players. And he is a spotty, impactful player. And what I mean by that is he does it in spots. He can look downright great at times, okay? But it's spotty. And I think that, to me, Mike, and I'm not going to argue with you about Casper, by the way. I want you to know that. I would, go on the side of, okay, I like what I've seen, but I'm not ready to be. I think the Red Wings might have to go outside and get a guy. I really, truly do. I really, truly do. And this is what I wanted to, and now you'll understand. And to everybody else out there, maybe you'll understand why I like to throw things at Mike. Because I know, he knows what he's talking about. Maybe I can put these things out so we can have more prospects in the NHL. It's still an unknown. How's that? Mike, I'm going to throw a couple names at you, okay?
Okay.
I'm gonna throw a couple names at you. I don't think that Don Sweeney is done in Boston. I do not think that this is the Bruins retool that you've seen him carry on for many, many years. I have a feeling that this is a full rebuild, and there is no reason to keep Boston. There really isn't. If this is the rebuild, it looks, and this is pure speculation on my part, I might add. Okay, but you tell me all the signs are there that this is not the patented Sweeney retool. This is a full-fledged rebuild. And I think when he looks in the division and sees the success that Ottawa and Montreal are already having, and I'll say it again, I know a lot of you don't want to hear it, the Red Wings have a lot of nice pieces. It's not all there yet. It's not at the par with the other teams, and I think the standings show that, and I think you'll see that bear itself out in the next couple of years as well. But, Mike, there are a lot of nice pieces. I think that Sweeney knows if he tries a retool, he's going to be the hamster on the wheel for a few years. Why not make a pitch for Pasternak?
In a heartbeat.
I understand it's in his division. I get all that, okay? But I think that's the type of impactful player that the Detroit Red Wings need.
And in his prime, Sean. He's not past his prime. It's not Kane. It's not one of these has-beens that you're going to get on a deal. You're going to pay for him, and you're going to get a hell of a hockey player. And you're spot on with they have to bring somebody in because you can't hit a home run with every one of your picks. And if you don't bring guys in, Sean, that's what they're going to have to do. And Raymond is a very nice piece. It's very good. Casper hopefully is going to be good. We'll know in a couple of years here, but when you bring in a proven guy at 28, 29 years old and Pasta, a 100-point scorer on a terrible Boston team, he's a -4 this year, take him in a heartbeat. And he could play with some grit too. He's got that Kucherov in him.
Mike, that's now you're going to have to make a deal for that. And if you're talking about a team that is rebuilding, then you know as well as we do, and you and I have had this conversation many times, Don Sweeney is not going to call you, or you're not going to call Don Sweeney and offer him shit. If he is rebuilding, he's going to want nice pieces for Pasternak and multiple nice pieces. So that leads me to door number 2. When the Maple Leafs, not if, when the Maple Leafs are eliminated early in the Stanley Cup playoff, okay? You know it's happening. They're Charmony soft. Maple Leaf knows it. He gets mad at me, but he knows it. They're Charmony soft. They might beat Ottawa. They might beat Montreal. Okay, that'll be great. You can have your dumb little party down Yonge Street, your second playoff win in 20 years. You're not going anywhere. You know it, Mike. You know it. You know it deep down inside, right?
I do. I know it, but I'm a sucker for stories, so I love to watch stuff like that, and I love to root for it. And I don't care whether they lose or beat Ottawa. I just want that series to happen.
Yeah. All right. So when the season is over, you have John Tavares up. You have Mitch Marner up. I have no idea, Mike, none, zero zilch, how they're going to be able to keep together their core. I really, truly don't, okay? So that's the next question, all right? Tavares, I have no interest in John Tavares at 34 years old. None. Zero. Zilch. Don't need him. Don't want him. Thanks. You had a fantastic career. Johnny, I saw you when you were 15 years old. I remember it really well, Mike, okay? Phenomenal, I might add, with Oshawa. Mitch Marner. Do you make a play? Do you go over the top? Okay.
I don't like him.
All right.
That's me. He doesn't play the game that I want, and I haven't seen enough or anything out of him when it counts in the playoffs to matter. Nylander's one of their better playoff players. That would be that would be a guy I'd be interested in, Mike, and at a cheaper tag.
Mike, I told you, like I go back to that series in 21. Okay, the disappearing act that everybody not named Nylander had in that series was embarrassing. And when I say everybody, I include Poppy. Okay, everybody disappeared in that series. All right. Except for Nylander. And 14 million might be the number, Mike. Like, I'm not joking. If he's at, correct me if I'm wrong, Todd, you can fact check me. Fact check me right now. But I think that Mitch is Mitch at 10-2 right now? Is that his number right now? 10-2? He could command 14 million on the open market, and that's why he hasn't been doing any negotiating with dumb Leafs during the season, you know?
Yeah, he's gonna get that, Sean. So someone out there, someone desperate, and the Wings can't go desperate and do that. Can I see them doing it? Absolutely. I could see them do, because that's an easier way to go than having to give up pieces of your puzzle. But I would rather give up pieces to my puzzle.
All right. Fair enough. Because I'll tell you what, people are hoping for answers in this good evening, Tom. If people are hoping for some answers in this free agent class, you're going to be woefully disappointed. This upcoming free agent class, Mike, I don't know if you looked at it. Oh, it's Todd. Is he at 11.5 right now? See, for some reason, I thought he was in the 10s. He's going to get 14. Somebody's going to give him 14. Mark my words. Remember, I said that. Somebody's going to give him 14. But, Mike, I don't know if you've taken an early look at it. This free agent class sucks. I mean, it's not very good.
I haven't taken a look at it. I'm going to pull it up right now. All right, so it's got to be coming up here. Here's the top 12 it's going to give me.
All right,
let's see.
Yeah, we'll play this game, and then we'll get to your comments in just a second. We'll play this game together.
Mitchell Marner. Oh, boy. Ehlers. Nice. I mean, he could be, but again, someone's going to pay these guys. JT. No, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Even if he wears Red Wings pajamas. Sam Bennett. Brock Besser. Why do I feel like I've got an old list here?
No, I know, dude. Mike, honest to goodness, I was looking at it and I almost dropped a douchey line. I was looking at it with somebody you would know. How's that?
Okay.
And we were laughing. We were literally laughing at some of these names.
No, I mean there's nothing here. So this is the 2000 top 12 of two. Like when you get to number 6 and you've got Aaron Ekblad, something's wrong.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like that's I mean he's going to fit someone's puzzle. He's going to help someone. He's going to help an organization when he goes there, but that's not a top 12. And I'll tell you what, Marchand's on this list, and he looked like he wasn't even interested in playing hockey in the Wings game the other day. Like,
I couldn't agree. Dude, I couldn't agree with you more. Honest. It's like, oh, yawn. When do the playoffs start? That was kind of the impression I got, Mike.
At number 10, Matt Duchene. I mean, these guys, everything's washed here. So you know what that means? Detroit's interested in all of them.
Yeah. as Bill said, is Mike naming guys off the missing persons list. All right, lots of comments from you guys. I love Mike's hat, by the way. Did you guys notice that? Show everybody your hat, all right? Bill said, I'm done with Kane and any fringe parts. This has failed miserably. I'm going to say the same thing about Kane that I said when they picked him up, and I feel really good about this. I didn't mind it because it cost him nothing. Really. They didn't lose on anything. If anything, Mike, could you even give them he was better than you thought? Is that a fair statement? He was better than you thought he might be? But I get the overall point. Trust me, I get it. But I didn't mind it at the time. Mike, I know you and I had this conversation. I mean, if it failed, what did you lose? It didn't cost you anything. The contract wasn't dirty or anything like that. It just wasn't a big deal to me. Does that make sense?
It absolutely makes sense. And I think, and I questioned this from the beginning. It didn't make sense to me to where they were at, to what they were doing. I'm fine with it. I've gotten over that. My bigger question is, like, I don't know what Kane was thinking.
Yeah.
Did he miss what was happening in that locker room and on that ice so badly that he turned down other offers? I don't know. So that was
Bill also said, does Montreal have any chance to make some postseason noise? No. And Mike, can I tell you why? I think you know the answer. All right. In 21, when they made the improbable run to the final, it was Carey Price remembering that at one point in time, he was the best goaltender in the world. They don't have that guy. Sam Montembeault has played so far over his head for a while now. Honestly, I'm very happy about it. But no, Mike, I don't try to get my hopes up. Don't be nice to your friend and say things that you don't mean. Thank you. I'm glad they don't have a chance. They don't have a chance. When you look at, and I mentioned this last week, they're going to get some good experience, and they've got the skill to do something down the road as long as their build keeps going. But when you look at the teams that they're going to have to get through to make that noise, these are veteran playoff teams, and that's just going to be a tough task for these kids. Bill said Minnesota's where I expected Detroit to be right now. I think that's an interesting comp because while they've cooled off, I like them a lot. I think the difference between them and Detroit is I think they've got their impactful guy up front in Kaprizov. I mean, honestly, I really, Mike, when you talk about underrated players in the league, I think Christian Keller in Utah might be front and center for me. I don't think the average human knows that Christian Keller exists. And that's a guy who's played with nothing but shit and has put up good numbers. But Kaprizov has been okay. Kaprizov has been, I'm not going to argue. Kaprizov has been a tremendous player for the Minnesota Wild for quite some time now. And I think that's that impactful type player that the Red Wings are missing up front.
And I think people are going to notice it because they just are getting ready to bring him back for a little bit of a push here because they're only 4 points into the playoffs that he's going to come off injury, and you're going to see how good he is. I mean, I like the thought of Detroit in Minnesota being very – I mentioned this before when you fell in love with Minnesota early in the year, and we were talking about them, and we went through their roster. That's a roster to be happy with. They've got 91 points, and Kiprusoff's been out for 2 years. I mean, they're injured. Their back end is what you could see the Wings' back end coming, but we don't have that impactful forwards like they do.
Yep. No doubt about that. Let me get to some other comments, and I can't wait to talk about Mike. There's no way you were up watching this, but I was actually I was going back and forth with a former NHLer last night. Sorry. And we were watching this, and we were watching the Avs game at the same time. And I texted him. I said, please tell me you're watching this game. I'll get to it in a second. Our buddy in London. Good evening, guys. Henry, I love this. This is Mike. I don't know if you and I had this conversation. I had it with the guys at Woodward, and a couple guys got really mad at me. A couple guys at work there got really mad at me until I fully explained it. Okay. Henry said, I think Sider's got to produce a little bit more. I could not agree with you more, Henry. I could not. And let me tell you why. And I don't even think it's Mo Sider's fault. I mean that. I don't even think it's Mo Sider's fault, Mike. When you win the Calder and everybody and their brother is saying that this is going to be a guy, by the way, fall in line. You know how many times we've heard this about an Erickson, about a DeKaiser, about so many. When so many people are saying that this is a future, not just a Norris Trophy winner, but multiple Norris trophies, you can't get mad at people like Henry or Mike or Sean, who then a couple of years later say, hey, tell me if this sounds familiar. I like this guy. I do. I'm glad he's on the team, but he's nowhere near Norris Trophy candidacy. What are we doing here? That's not my fault. Like, that's like, you know what I'm saying, Mike? So Henry, I couldn't agree with you more. I'm worried that this is what Mo Seider is. And again, hear me out, Mike. Good player. Like, yes, good player. But this isn't that impactful type of, here we go, Norris Trophy candidate type of guy on the blue line. It just isn't.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna I'm gonna let this one marinate. I'm gonna give him some time to let this defensive core that has gotten better as the year's gone along, and as they've gotten better, he's looked better. In the beginning of the year, it was atrocious, but this is where he needs Axel to come in. This is where he needs Edvinsson to step up a little bit more. Maybe Albert's got to do some more. The core of this D is going to be good. I mean, to throw Norris on a guy, he's going to be a real good player, but I can't go there looking at the defensemen that are in the NHL that do everything. So I can't go there, but I think he's only going to get better.
Can I tell you the conversation I had, and I'm not going to throw this person under the bus because they said it to me, and after about 10 minutes, I think sanity came back and they kind of took it back. But somebody looked me in the eye, Mike, and said to me, I'd rather have Mo Seider than Lane Hudson. And I bit my lip really hard. And I said, hey, remind me never to talk hockey with you again, ever again. You lost the right to talk hockey with me at that point in time. You know, I mean, and Mike, if I'm being a slapdick about Lane Hudson, call me out, for goodness sake. But that's what the NHL is today. To have a guy like that who motors and the energy, that's the National Hockey League today.
I forget which Montreal game I was watching while texting you, and they did like a little behind the scenes of when they drafted him. Mm-hmm. And they were talking, and the guy was flat out saying, we have to take this guy, because if you look at every team that's winning Stanley Cups or on the way to winning Stanley Cups, they have that guy. And that's when they said they're talking about Lane Hudson right now. And it is. I mean, you look across the league and that defense, and I said it to you the other day, a guy like that makes it a lot easier on other guys when he could carry that puck up with the confidence. Now, that's not say he's got what, 7,000 points right now, and he makes a ton of mistakes, Sean. He makes a lot of mistakes with the puck. It's only gonna get better. And look at where we're at right now, and look at where his defensive core is and how they're going to help him get better, which they're already doing.
And Tom knows this, a guy that he saw in London, Logan Mailloux, is not in the league right now because those mistakes that he's making are not overcompensated by his incredible skating ability and playmaking. As good as Logan is, and I like the kid a lot, when you're making those kind of defensive efforts, if you're not uber producing the other way, they're not going to give you a shot. They just aren't. And I think that's the big thing about it. David said, I would give up pieces as well. I think they're at that point. Alan said, I know we're focused on the wings, but anyone see that Stars collapse last night? I don't know if I've seen a collapse like that with under a minute to go. Mike, there's not a snowball's chance in hell that you were up. I know that. I know you well enough, okay? But you saw it, right?
Well, of course, because you know there was betting implications going on there. When you've got a minute left and you're down 5-2, it was probably somewhere close to 50-1 odds or something that would be going off if the live odds were still there. So I've heard all about it, yes.
3 goals in 53 seconds. Because I was texting back and forth with somebody, and they asked me, is this night's Avs game any good? And I said, the Avs just scored to make it 2-1. They eventually won 3-2 in a shootout. And I said, but I'm kind of flipping around. And I was like, dude, you got to turn on this game. 3 goals. What Mike said is a factual statement. It was 5-2 with 1 minute to go. And Vancouver scored 3 goals to tie it in the next 53 seconds. What the fuck? Seriously, what? Like, honest to goodness.
Never seen anything like that. Absolutely insane. Those are times like that makes me mad that I'm sound asleep, but I'm so happy when I'm sleeping, Sean. So happy.
Ray said, you guys see what happened in Dallas last night. You ever leave a game before it was over and you still regret it today? One time, Mike, and it wasn't hockey. But one time I'm not usually leave a game early guy, but I left a Tigers-Cubs game with Jack. There were so many obnoxious Cubs fans there that, like, I had to get out of there. And Ryan Rayburn hit a walk-off grand slam in the 9th inning. And we were 5 minutes outside of the park. So that was cool. That's the only time I get. Never in hockey. I don't think I've ever. I don't leave early. I don't know, Mike. Right?
I leave early, but when I'm leaving early, it's because it's done, and I've gotten lucky to where there's been no magical 3 goals in 50 seconds kind of thing. Because, and I know you're a little bit like this. A, I'm into the game, but B, in the back of my head, anything can happen, and I want to see it if that happens. So I'll wait as long as I can.
Lots of more comments from you. It's about time. It's high time. We're 26 minutes in. I better read something from one of our sponsors because that's kind of why we're here, and we appreciate them greatly. Hey, if you are ready to take charge of your financial future, look no further than the Wealth Advantage Group. I just drove by their business about a half hour ago. Well, it was more like an hour ago. Located in historic downtown Northville, owned by the Handsome brothers right there. That's Mike Husak on the left, Jeff Husak on the right. They've got over 20 years of industry experience, and they understand that your financial goals are as unique as you are. And that's why they offer personalized expert guidance to help navigate the complexities of financial planning. Maybe you're saving for retirement. You're getting ready to sell a company. You're already in retirement. It doesn't matter. These guys can and will help guide you through every step of your financial journey. They work with clients throughout all stages of life, and they have clients in over 20 different states. Look, the investment world is a complex one. And if you're ready to start taking your finances more seriously, it's time to work with the experts. They're great guys. They're friends of mine. And yes, I am a client. It's the Wealth Advantage Group at 248-773-8574, or visit their website at www.thewealthadv.com. Give them a call. You will be glad you did. Tom said, I'm sure the Wings will sign an ex-Leaf or somebody that should retire. I still cannot believe that Tarasenko. Like, really, that it just.
That's the finishing piece when you're about to win.
Right.
A la Florida. Right. Florida.
The trade. Right. Florida. Chris said it's time to part ways with Larkin. Truly believe he's part of our problem. I had the 1C conversation again today. I cannot believe that I had that very conversation today, where at least today, the person that I was having the conversation with, Mike, said, well, I understand he's not a 1C right now, but he could be a 1C if he was surrounded by the right people. And I went, okay, I guess. I don't agree with you, but I think if you put superstars on each side of them, it'd probably make them look better. But how likely is that to happen? And Mike, to me, I think last night was a perfect example. Nick Suzuki is a 1C. Make no mistake about it. Make no mistake about it. Nick Suzuki is a 1C. And anybody who argues otherwise, I'm sorry, you're an idiot. There are 26 centers in the league that have more points than Dylan Larkin. And Mike, I'll be the first guy to say points, it's not the tell-all. But I think to watch Dylan Larkin specifically after the Four Nations, to say that he hasn't had a very large impact would be a gross understatement.
He's disappeared, Sean. He's disappeared. Kane laid a nice pass right on his stick. He did the right thing going, but I can't do it anymore. I know this is your job, but I can't do it anymore as far as defending Dylan Larkin. Look, at one point he was playing to his contract, right? It just goes to show, like, it's not. And I'm sorry, I can't say I'm a 1C if I need other people to get me there. No, you're not. You're a 1C because you're a 1C, and you're going to make your wingers even better. And as a line, you're going to be dominant. Stop it.
Yep.
He's a 2.5.
Drew said, I question Maltby in the pro scouting. I also question Yzerman's trade capability. I believe Steve is arguably the best drafter. Helps when you have Hawk and Anderson. More on that in a second. I want to follow that up. But his free agents and trades have been nothing short of terrible. I understand you need to build the core, but the core has to be mentored, and the 30-plus-year-olds outside of Kane have been terrible. Imagine where the Wings would be if DeBrincat didn't put Ottawa in a bad place because he wanted to come home. Drew, you know, I've said this 1,000 times, and I think this will tie into what we were just saying about Lane Hudson as well, Mike. Sometimes you have to be lucky. To get Lane Hudson at 62 is pure gross luck. To get Nikita Kucherov in the second round is pure gross luck. To inherit a situation like Steve did in Tampa, and this is not taking anything away from him, but where he was literally walking into a place where you had a not quite ready for primetime Steven Stamkos and a not quite ready for primetime Victor Hedman, two no-doubter, no-brainer Hall of Famers. Sometimes you have to be lucky to be good and good to be lucky. Taking over Detroit, this was I'm not sticking up for Steve here because I've been accused so many times of sticking up for Steve. I'm spitting fact here. This franchise was awful, in a horrible place when this man walked in. And I'm not just talking the Detroit Red Wings, Mike. I'm talking about organizational depth. There wasn't any. This was a really, really, really bad franchise. Now, okay, this is where I'm going to come back to you. I was the guy that said all bets are off once this year started because you're 5 years in. And this is a team that took a step back. Have at it. Fire away. I don't think he should be fired. I don't blame people for being frustrated, though, in any way, shape, or form. How could I?
Yeah, and my problem is, and I mentioned this, I think, at the beginning of the year, sure, there needs to be someone in there that's going to check him. So he's spot on with the scouting team and the heads of scoutings, and there's no one but yes men in there. He brought in his guys. There's no one questioning what he's doing, and he needs someone in there to kind of to be that balance because it's not looking good, and I just don't think there's someone that's going to go, no, Steve, that's not a good move. Whether he stops or not, I don't know if that person exists in this organization.
That's a really good point. And I know you've said it before, but I think that's a really good point and one that maybe we should all take to heart. Bill said it's snowing here. Bill, you're in the Kalamazoo area. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's supposed to start here in a couple hours. We're not getting it right now. Austin said, I'm not going to say anything you guys haven't said all season. The whole thing is, what's the plan? We know Steve has an unlimited runway, but someone needs to give the fans a timeline here. More transparency, if nothing else. Mike, here's where I repeat the line that I had two current general managers in the National Hockey League, in talking about the Detroit Red Wings and jobs like the Red Wing job in particular, where they said to me, and by the way, neither one of these guys were named Steve Yzerman, one in the West and one in the East. What fans need to understand is this takes 5 years. There's a reason why it's called the 5-year plan. And that's why, Mike, I said it all last year and I said it heading into this season. Well, guess what? All bets are off this year. All right. Now we'll see. Now, was I expecting them to go compete for a Stanley Cup? No, I wasn't even expecting them to go get into the playoff. I wasn't expecting a step back, though. This team took a step back this year. And I think when all is said and done, it's going to be a pretty big step back this year, Mike. I really do.
Yes, because there's contracts and there's things you can't walk back, and Steve's got to take ownership to that. And what we talked about in the beginning of the year is I asked these fans, "Are you ready for 4 more years?" Because I think, and I said it just this way, Sean. Don't take this the wrong way. Don't put words in my mouth. Sider's not Hedman. Edvinson's not Hedman. Raymond's not Stamkos. But those are his pieces that he has, and he has them locked in. We can throw Larkin in there, whether he's here or not. Those 4 are here. Now you have to wait for all these other guys, be it Danielson, be it Casper, be it Axel, and all the other Swedish kids and stuff coming in. And then there's Trey Augustine. And that's the guy that this is all. And we're 4 years, 3 years at the least from getting him as your full-time goal. That was the 4 years that it took them to get to the Cup in Tampa.
Look at the Vasco. That's the Vasilevsky tree, Mike. You're right. I've been making that comparison forever. Bishop to Vasilevsky. Yep.
We're 4 years out, and so everyone's talking about the 5th. We're going to be 9 years out, and he's going to get those 9 years. Yzerman's going nowhere. He will be here when Augustine takes the helm and is the starting goalie, whether it's pretty or whether it's not. Now, I can't see the future, so I can't say that they're going to be in DFL dead frickin' last next year and be worse than a Buffalo. I can't say that saves his job, but I don't see that happening. But there's a lot of corrections that have to be made for them to be a playoff team next year. Or we're going to be sitting saying, like the first guy asked, what are we saying at this time next year? And we're saying probably the same thing unless there is some great correction made with the contracts and the level of talent that we have here.
This is the thing that people forget, Mike, and I'm sorry. I know I sound like a broken record to you, but this is the thing that people forget around here, okay? You got to remember, these same conversations that we've had here the last couple of years have been happening in Buffalo, have been happening in Ottawa, and I can damn well guarantee you they've been happening in Montreal. And you know what the problem is? Right now, today, Montreal and Ottawa are doing a hell of a lot better than Detroit, and certainly eons better than Buffalo's doing it.
And even on top of that, Sean, the beginning of this year, this season, they were in Montreal and Detroit were in the same place. Do you remember I asked you on the air at that time? I think I was sitting right next to you. We're getting ready to go to a hockey game. Is St. Louis safe? They were questioning his job. They were questioning this team. And look what happened. Those two teams were on the same path. They really have been, back and look what we're talking about now after last night.
Yep. No doubt about it. Let me do a read here, and then a lot of comments tonight. I'm glad you guys are so engaged tonight. Did you know that thousands of Metro Detroiters have already called our friends at Legacy Partners to get help with their home and auto insurance? Look at those dudes. All great dudes. I'm telling you, our friends at Legacy are one of Southeast Michigan's top independent insurance agents. They provide a full service, one-stop solution for all of your insurance needs, personal and business, large and small. Let me tell you, I can personalize this for you. I gave my information to Alex. Day later, Alex said, boom, boom, boom. Showed me where I'm saving here, showed me where I'm saving there, showed me where I'm saving there. They'll do the same thing for you. They've helped our listeners by fixing mistakes other agents have made, asking the right questions to get the right coverage put in place to properly protect you, and help save you some money. Chances are, if you haven't checked your policies in the last year, you're paying too much and you could be underinsured. We were. So what are you waiting for? Give Legacy a chance to help with your home, your cars, life insurance, Medicare enrollment, or your business insurance needs. Call them today, 586-209-4106, or visit legacypartnersins.com to get started with your new quotes. Wings should have extended Ghost, signed Greenway instead of Kopp, tried to trade Wallander and a first for Byram. And just a few of those things would put this team on a different level. I was very surprised at the inactivity at the trade deadline. And then, Mike, I think you and I were both very surprised by the comments that Steve made at the trade deadline.
Wait, that tell me Brown and Mrazek aren't their path to the playoff?
I literally said to you, I said it was almost like he was trolling, and I was surprised at that. Most of the Wings D belong in the nursing home. Tom, huge. Listen, when you compare a decor, when you could, again, I'm going to use Montreal as an example. Compare what Montreal has on defense and compare what Detroit has in defense this year, not with pieces yet to come. And mind you, the Habs still have two big pieces in Logan and Reinbacher coming, and the Wings have ASP. But, Mike, look at those two defense cores. There's no comparison. There's no comparison. Jacky and Gooley and Struble and Savard. There's no comparison. It really jumped out to me last night. It really did. It really jumped out to me last night.
Yeah, that's a professional decor that you have there in Montreal, Sean. We have a piece together kind of thing here in Detroit, and you just look at when they put an Edvinsson or a Sider with, be it a Petrie or whoever, it just falls apart. Like you can't have that. You've got to have solid guys that you can put on the ice with each other, and they don't have that.
Henry wanted to reiterate what we were just talking about earlier, more on Mo Sider. I'm not saying I hate the guy or he should be out of town, but in my opinion, he needs to take the next step. And 100%. And again, I'm going to say maybe it's not Mo Sider's fault. Maybe there were so many people talking Norris trophies, plural, not singular, and all that stuff. He's a good player. I'll take him. There's no doubt about that. Austin said Sider has a few more levels to unlock for sure. You know, it would help not having Sherratt as your D partner. We'll see. Here's the problem that I have, and I'm not directing this at you, Austin. If you tell me 2 years ago that this guy's going to be one of the best defensemen in the league, 2 years later, and then 2 years later comes and I go, hey, I like him. Don't take this the wrong way. But there isn't one human outside of Detroit that would mention Mo Sider and Norris Trophy in the same sentence. Well, that's not my fault. Don't get mad at me when I bring it up, man. You know what I mean? Lane is like coffee in terms of carrying the puck. Is Hudson like a younger Brent Burns? Oh, that's kind of funny. That's I don't know about that, but that's almost $19 million tied up in Kopp, Comfer, Hall, and Tarasenko. Comfer has been the most productive with 5 goals and 17 hits in 71 games. Yeah.
Lots of correction, Sean. Lots of corrections to be made.
If Montreal plays Washington in the first rounds, they have versus Florida this year. Can they take it to 7? Well, Mike and I have doubted Washington all year. We don't know how they're doing it. I just don't think they have the goaltending to do it. If you remember when they pulled that upset in 2010, Halak was insane. And the crazy Carey Price run in 21, no shot at you, Ray. That was Carey Price. It's Samuel Montembeault. I have my doubts. I'll leave it at that. If Detroit signs Ekblad, pair him with Sider and let Sider float around and focus on his strengths of skating and scoring and leave the defensive part to Ekblad. Bring the Bell River boy home. Bring the Bell River boy home. Come on. Playing 25 minutes away from Little Caesars Arena. Bring the Bell River boy home. Detroit hasn't won a lottery pick at all. That's been huge. Yzerman has a lifetime contract and will never feel pressure from ownership. That could be part of the problem as well. You are 100% right. There's no way they are going to ruin the image that they helped cultivate 40 years ago, that family. And it started with Christopher's mom and dad. That's where it started. Sorry, guys. Hey, where's the Habs guy? He probably took off back to Montreal. How many more years does Stevie get? As long as he wants. I have no other way to say that. I can't. Mike, I can't. All right, I was about to say I can't envision a scenario. Okay? I'm going to play a game of pretend. And I hope the good Lord curses these words. The Red Wings really flame out. The last 5 games, it shouldn't shock anybody when you look at their last 5 games, okay? Let's say they don't win any, okay? You lose, you end the season on a streak like that, and then you are just awful next year. And your next prized rookie, ASP, looks mortal. okay, and you finish, how about dead last in the Atlantic Division? Okay. Do you think there'd be any pressure on him?
Absolutely. But what you're saying is huge, like end of the world scenario, but that's what's going to happen. Like he's going to have. You can't put Axel on the ice. He has another awful offseason. Nothing hits. They come in DFL. And the only thing that would save him is if somehow he could promise them that'd be McKenna would be the number one pick, right? If that's the kid's name that's over there, possibly playing at Michigan, I hear rumors of. And they can get him and he can say, hey, this is the next Steve Yzerman. This is the next guy that's going to bring you your team. Remember when we were the Dead Wings? I'll bring them out. I could still see him talk out, but that end of world situation you just presented is what it's going to have to take. But again, I just don't think it happens until there's someone in that organization that's going to put pressure on him and have an opposing opinion.
For what it's worth this year, whether it be Schaefer, whether it be the kid from Saginaw, it certainly looks like the OHL is going to be well represented, top heavy. It doesn't look like there is that. Oh, here it comes. You ready? Generational talent in this draft. That doesn't mean that they can't manifest themselves. I want to get to that in just a second as well. Hold on a second. With 9 picks this year and all the talent in the system, do you guys agree if Steve doesn't start using picks and prospects to deal, that not only do we miss out on the big move they might need to make, but more importantly, there's going to be a massive logjam in the minors when our older players start getting older? Yes. Use those. That's what good teams do. When you're in a position to better yourself, that's what good teams do. And you have that backlog of you've got some young talent that maybe you can't fit here right now, and that you can jettison off and maybe give them that brand new opportunity in the process. Get, a guy like Pasta, we have a young player that doesn't fit into our plans right now, but everybody thinks very highly of him. Here's another pick. Here's another, established body. I mean, just throwing a thing out there. The packages to get Pasta would have to be incredible. But let me see what if it was not Yzerman, the GM would be canned. It's a good question. It's a good question. It's a good question. I don't have any confidence or evidence they'll even go after Marner or a big name. We were talking about this earlier. We'll revisit it. If anything, they'll get another rental, lazy veteran who underperforms and will continue to be in the worst spot to be. Purgatory. We're too good to get a high draft pick, but not good enough to contend. I brought up the possibility of Marner and the fact that it would probably cost $14 million because I cannot see a world where Toronto's able to keep all of them, especially with Tavares hitting the open market and Marner hitting the open market. And quite frankly, the rest of the UFA class is just Mike Meh. Is that the best way to say it?
Perfect. That's a perfect word.
Meh. It's all right. Meh. I got to ask you about highly can't miss prospects, by the way. Who said Seider would win the Norris? He's definitely got all-star talent, but I didn't hear anyone mention a Norris except maybe Big Slaps. I was inundated with it in my day job. I mean, and when I say inundated with it, I mean inundated with it. And to their credit, I don't like calling out other people in the business. They openly admit that they said it too. But yes, many people were saying that future Norris Trophy winner. And you guys know that's the routine in this town. Erickson, DeKaiser, I've heard it 1,000 times in my life, and that's Larkin looked like a defeated man during last night's post-game press conference. That was did you watch that after the fact? I knew you were sleeping.
I was
out. He did, and he looked like he's been playing since the Four Nations. I'm not being mean. Alan said, I get we won't have great lottery luck, but if you need the number one pick to build a great team, how great of a GM are you really? Pretty strong point there, friend. Detroit's problem is holding on to guys or coaches too long or don't get enough for players. Do they still have anything left from Mantha? Bertuzzi returned, got what? No, there's no doubt about that. I mean, let's be honest. There's no doubt about that. Mike, I got to do some reads. Gosh, I can't believe we've done 50 minutes already. And I hadn't even got to the biggest story. Slapdick.
Uh-oh.
Hey, when it's time to get yourself a house, whether you're buying, selling, or both, you need to contact the right agent. Who do we recommend? Lindsay Broadwell. As a matter of fact, there she is. Lindsay grew up on the mean streets of Northville and has expanded her team all over Southeast Michigan. She's an expert in all facets of the business. When it's time to move, our friend Lindsay and her team will make sure that you get the most out of your house and everything goes smoothly when finding your new home. Buyer, seller, or even first-time buyer. Make sure you contact Lindsay at BroadwellHomes.com. She will help you with everything from start to close. Licensed realtor at Real Broker LLC. Start your search today at BroadwellHomes.com. Let's not forget, Mo Sider also won a Calder, and that was, that's something that is going to make people go like that. And I think the Slaps kind of, responded as such. Now, can I throw this at you, Mike? We've talked a lot about prospects tonight, and there is no exact science. There are some guys you just know, okay? Like I'm telling you, I saw young John Tavares. I saw young Ekblad. I saw Sidney Crosby the year before his draft year and then his draft year. Steven Stamkos. There's some guys you know. And then there are other guys that you think you have a pretty good idea that don't turn into anything. And then there are other guys, a certain defenseman who played 80 years in Anaheim and played for the Windsor Spitfires. I didn't get it, Mike. I watched him and I was like, I don't. Why is everybody going so nuts about this guy? And then he went to the NHL, and Fowler was awesome. He had a great career. I told you the one for Drew Doughty was like the biggest standout to me. Like when I saw him at Guelph, it was like at 17, you're like, this kid doesn't belong in this league. This chubby kid. He really was. He was this chubby kid that just dominated out there, right? There's no guarantee with prospects. There isn't. And I know the prospect business has turned into a multi-gazillion dollar business, and it's also created a lot of smartest guys in the room because they want to be the guy that said, I saw this guy first and blah, 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 blah. Mike, how good is Ivan Demidov? I don't know. I've seen the highlights like everybody else. I've watched him play a couple times. I don't know how good he is, but it's pretty interesting because I don't know if you saw some of the chatter that I saw. Craig Button said he is the number one prospect in hockey, and it's not close. And this guy said last night, gosh damn it, who was it? But he said he might be the most highly touted Russian player since Alexander Ovechkin. I mean, that's pretty damn high praise. And when you think about all the good Russian players and some that we've mentioned here just tonight, including a stud in Minnesota, I think that's pretty high praise. But to me, and I don't care if it was for Montreal, I don't care if it was for Ottawa, I don't care if it was Vancouver, there's intrigue to watch a kid like this play, and he's going to be playing Friday night against Ottawa.
He's a plus 255 to score a goal this year, by the way. So as you know, my son is another Habs fan. Somehow I don't know why, but he's been showing me videos of him. What do you think about his personality? Have you seen some of these YouTube videos of his interviews? His interview right before the playoffs and stuff.
Yes. So. The backstory to that, I don't know if Sebi knows or other people know. So what happens with these KHL teams is they're starting to hold the NHL and NHL teams basically hostage. Oh yeah, well, you want this guy? Well, how much are you willing to pay for this guy? Oh, you don't want to pay? Well, maybe we're going to sit him out for X amount of time. So that's what was going on. My understanding, and I'm sure you saw the stories or at least read the stories, is Jeff Molson really had to get involved to try to get St. Petersburg to release him from that contract. So I think that's what it is. Frustration and trying to bite his tongue from not being allowed the opportunity to play. And then finally, when he got a chance to play, knowing that he was going to be getting fourth line minutes. I think now again, Mike, I think that's the situation.
Yeah, I thought it was humorous. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the attitude, and that's kind of what I read into it. And Sebi had told told me the story of kind of what was going on. We always worry about these kids and their character and stuff coming over, but knowing that the backstory helps a little bit. I can't wait to see it. Right?
Yeah.
Great expectations.
No, that's exactly it. And this is 19 years old. By the way, did you see there's a $250,000 provision if he wins the Conn Smythe Trophy? I don't think anybody's going to be paying that. I gotta be honest with you. But no, I mean, don't we all get excited? I think there's a different buzz. And if you're watching this show, you're a hockey fan. There's a different buzz when you're talking about watching an 18 and 19-year-old kid, because they're not supposed to be at this level yet, than the highly touted 21, 22-year-old kid that finally gets here. Does that make sense?
100%. What 100%?
Yeah. Let me see. Are there any other comments that we have to get to before we get out of here today? Did Sean get an erection when he heard Demidov signed? Mike told me. I was at work yesterday. Mike told me, literally, I was at work and I got a text and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And he was like, "Oh, dude, I figured you know." And I was like, "No, I was at state champs. I wish I could,
Damn state champs.
Damn work. What are you doing? Let me work. My Spirit sure shit the bed in the OHL playoffs. Really not a surprise to me because their season-long issues with team defense and goaltending were totally exposed. Ted, you know what? I've seen it happen 1,000 times, unless it's the London Knights, of course, because there's no such thing as a rebuild. You know what? You got a memory that'll last a million lifetimes from what happened last year. I've seen so many OHL champions fall flat on their face the next year. So, yeah, you know what? Tip of the cap to you guys. How good is that goalie Montreal just signed? Fowler from BC. Mike, the general consensus is the two best goalies in college hockey are at BC. Well, not anymore. He just signed with Montreal, and Trey Augustine at Michigan State, who happens to be property of the Detroit Red Wings. So, and I've heard varying thoughts on both. Fowler, I've heard people say that he is not as athletic. And then I've had people say that the safer goaltender in the National Hockey League will be Fowler. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to know. I think they're two pretty damn good goalies. How's that?
Fair.
All right. Anything else, Mike? Is there anything that tickles your fancy?
Who do you got this weekend in NCAA?
I think the winner of Western and Denver wins the title. Do you agree with me?
Yep. Someone's got to show me that they can beat Denver and that coach can lose big games. I mean that it's just it has to happen.
And listen, Cole Hudson, if you haven't seen him yet for Boston U, he is like his brother. Okay. And he put on a show in that game that I was at against Ohio State. And there's something to be said about the team that's been on a heater like Penn State was. But the rest, Mike, you know it better than anybody. Any pro will tell you when a team's red hot, they don't want the rest. They don't. They really don't. They want to keep her going. And I think the rest is going to affect Penn State. I do. I think the rest is going to affect Penn State. Wait a second. He's obviously played through an injury, stopped taking faceoffs in game 3 and 4, was a scratch in game 5. He'll probably go 1 or 2 overall, Ted. I think you know that. 1 or 2 overall. No worse than 3, right? That's what I would think. Aren't you glad the KHL and NHL deals are not like when a soccer team pays for players in Europe? Yes, Ray, big time. I'm already looking at mock drafts. Pain. Yes. Sean Hockey Talk rules. Thank you. Knights and Erie for round 2. That's fantastic. Eric said, who won the game today? Major League Baseball. Congratulations to your Yankees. Ray said they screwed up the Western logo, went with the old version of Western. How about you can appreciate this one, Ray? How about Western Ontario? We could do that. Let's roll with Western Ontario. What do you think I will see from Landeskog in the playoffs? I can't believe, Mike. I can't believe it. Right? But aren't you stunned at that? I'm stunned.
He's not going to play. He hasn't played in like 13 years. What are we doing here? You can't do this.
Ted said, don't disagree regarding the Memorial Cup championship. Still have to listen to the garbage about backing in because we were the hosts. That's what losers do, Ted. You know what I do? Larry Bird. I put the number one finger up. Get yourself your Saginaw Spirit 2024 Memorial Cup champion hat and just go like that to people. Wah. Go Broncos. All right, Mike, anything else? Anything on the agenda for you?
No, I've got a big Jack White concert on Saturday. That's it.
Oh, you do?
Oh yeah.
Where at?
Downtown at Masonic Temple.
All right, I actually knew that because we were talking about doing a barbecue and we can't now. And then next week we've got our hockey game at Novi Ice Arena, Team Michigan juniors versus seniors. And then we're going to have Ryan Osemacher from Team Michigan on next Friday, right?
Yep.
Oh, Mike, here's a great question. Are you ready?
Yep.
Hold on. Starting a team, Wah or Hasek?
Wah.
Who do you think I'm going to say? There's one 3-time Conn Smythe Trophy winner who came into the league and was dominant from his first year on. There's no greater maybe 6-7 year span that I saw than Dominic Hasek. I think you'll agree with me. That 6 or 7 years, he was phenomenal. But you take the whole thing, and especially playoff success, I take what? Oh, I forgot. Yeah, I forgot to read, didn't I, Todd? I think that's what Todd was trying to say to me. Sorry, Todd. I apologize. All right, so before we get out of here, I have to tell you all about catering. Full service caterer, graduations, weddings, bridal showers, corporate events, anything you need catering for from 25 to 4,000 people. All About Catering can and will take care of you. For Rick and his staff, customer service and satisfaction is their number one goal. So don't sweat your next big event. Just go to allaboutcateringllc.com today to see their menus and all their 5-star reviews. Or you can give them a call, 586-731-1398 to get your event started. All right, Mike, anything you need to throw out there, Mike? How about go Timberwolves? Can we say that? Go Northwood Timberwolves? Anything?
Go Northwood Timberwolves. Go fire up your grill. It's about to get warm. Throw some sausage on there and get some short ribs.
All right, one more question before we get out of here. Who's your favorite ex-player turned hockey analyst? That's a great question. Ray. I have two. Do you want me to go first?
Yeah.
I absolutely love Chris Osgood. I really, truly do. And you guys can laugh at me. I think Chris is uber intelligent. I think Chris, I enjoyed talking to Chris. I was chatting with him today, as a matter of fact. I really enjoy Chris Osgood. I think Chris does a pretty good job of shooting straight. And then, of course, there was this guy by the name of Don Cherry that was always entertaining and fun to listen to. I didn't always agree with him, but I always enjoyed hearing from him. So how's that?
It's perfect. That's a tough one for me. I don't know if I have a favorite. I don't know if I pay that much attention to it. Someone that has always spoke his mind and has had some pretty funny moments in interviews, being interviewed or interviewing someone would be an in-between periods, like a Brian Burke. He
is phenomenal.
That's about.
Dude, I told you when I did that Toronto. Remember, I did the trade deadline show. Berkey was unfucking freaking believable. I'm serious. He was so much fun, Mike. He really was.
I think I could go more like who drives me crazy and who I would fight, and it would be a 1-2 combination of Darren Pang and Ray Ferraro.
I'll throw in Kelly Rudy because
okay.
I would really first I'd suplex him and then I'd get him in a camel clutch, and I'd love to see him just screaming as I'm doing the Iron Sheik camel clutch, just bending his back. Sid Abel and Paul Woods, Biz and Whitney. A lot of Mike Iavasile. A lot of people are bringing up Mike Iavasile as their favorite analyst. I know I'd rather work with nobody. That's just my personal opinion. All right, we got to get out of here. An hour and 5 minutes of bullshit. We'll see you guys. Thanks, Todd. Bye. That's it. It's over, bitches.
What the Puck with Sean Baligian. Executive produced by Sean Baligian and Todd Losey. Theme song, incidental music, and related sound effects are from Always Pushing Forward by Elliot Middleton. Engineering, mixing, and graphic design support provided by the unsyndicated podcast team. Don't forget to like and subscribe on all your favorite channels. While you're there, be sure to rate and review the podcast. Got something to say to Sean? Call the unsyndicated hotline at 248-237-3257.